The defense segment of the football team is further divided into three main groups, with specific positions within each group. The three major groupings for the defense are the defensive line, linebackers, and defensive backs. Each group will have specific assignments it needs to accomplish for the defense to stop the offense and to force the offense to give up the ball or to gain possession of the ball on an interception or fumble recovery and return the ball down the field trying to score. There is no set number of defensive players who must be lined up on the line of scrimmage when the ball is snapped and the play begins. In identifying a defense, the first number will usually indicate the number of defensive linemen being used in the game, and the second number will indicate the number of linebackers playing in the game. Example 6-2 equals 6 defensive linemen and 2 linebackers. The defensive line may consist of 3 players, 1 nose tackle and 2 defensive ends. 4 players, 2 defensive tackles and 2 defensive ends. 5 players, 1 nose tackle, 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends. Or 6 players, 2 defensive guards, 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive ends. The actual number of defensive linemen used in the game will depend on the defense your team is using. Their basic job is to defeat the blocks of opposing players, locate the ball carrier on running plays, and help on the tackle, pressure the quarterback and hurry the throw, deflect the pass, or sack the quarterback on pass plays. Defensive linemen are usually bigger and/or stronger than the other defensive players and need good balance and quickness in a limited area. The nose tackle will line up in front of the offensive center. The 2 defensive guards in a 6-2 defense will line up on the line of scrimmage in front of the offensive guards. In a 4-4 or 4-3 defense, the 2 defensive tackles will line up in front of the 2 offensive guards. In a 5-2 defense, the 2 defensive tackles will line up in front of the offensive tackles. In a 3-4 and 4-3 defense, the 2 defensive ends will line up in front of the 2 offensive tackles. In a 5-2 and 6-2 defense, the 2 defensive ends will line up on the outside on the line of scrimmage or over a tight end if there is one on his side. The linebackers in the game may consist of only 1 player, 1 middle backer, 2 players, both inside linebackers, 3 players, 1 middle backer and 2 outside backers, 4 players, 2 inside backers and 2 outside backers. The actual number of linebackers used in the game will depend on the defense your team is using. Their basic job is to defeat the blocks of opposing players, locate the ball carrier, and help on the tackle on running plays. On pass plays, they will drop into an area of the field for zone pass coverage, run with a particular receiver for man pass coverage, or pressure the quarterback and hurry the throw, deflect the pass, or sack the quarterback on pass plays. Linebackers are usually bigger and stronger than the defensive backs and need good balance, quickness in a limited area, and overall good speed to be able to pursue ball carriers. In a 6-1 or 4-3 defense, the middle linebacker will usually line up off the line of scrimmage in front of the offensive center. In a 5-2 or 3-4 defense, the 2 inside linebackers will line up off the line of scrimmage directly in front of either offensive guard. In a 4-4 defense, the 2 inside linebackers will line up off the line of scrimmage behind the defensive tackles directly in front of either offensive guard. In a 4-4 defense, the 2 outside linebackers will line up off the line of scrimmage directly in front of a tight end if there is one on his side. In a 3-4 or 4-3 defense, the 1 outside linebacker will often move up on the line of scrimmage directly in front of the tight end, while the other outside backer will move back of the line and be outside the defensive lineman in front of him. The defensive backs will make up the rest of the 11 defenders, and the number will depend on the number of defensive linemen and linebackers being used in the game. 3 players, 2 corners and 1 free safety. 4 players, 2 corners, 1 free safety, and 1 strong safety. The actual number of defensive backs used in the game will depend on the defense your team is using. Their basic job is to defend against any offensive pass play by dropping into an area of the field for zone pass coverage, or run with a particular receiver for man pass coverage and intercepting the pass, causing a deflection or tackling the receiver. On running plays, they should defeat the blocks of opposing players, locate the ball carrier, and help on the tackle. Defensive backs are usually the smallest and the fastest players on the defense. The defensive backs need good balance, quickness when changing direction, good jumping and catching ability, a mental toughness, and sure tackling ability. The 2 corners in either a 3 or 4-man defensive backfield will usually line up 7 or 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and just inside or outside of the outside receiver on their side of the offensive formation, based on the defense being run on that play. The 2 corners can move up on the line of scrimmage in front of the receiver or play off only 5 yards, again based on the defense called. In a 3-player defensive backfield, the free safety will line up 9 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, directly in front of the offensive center and quarterback. In a 4-player defensive backfield, the free safety may line up 9 to 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, directly in front of the offensive center and quarterback, or on one hash mark favoring one half of the field. In a 4-player defensive backfield, the strong safety may line up 7 yards off the line of scrimmage and 2 yards outside the tight end, or 10 yards off the line of scrimmage on one hash mark, favoring one half of the field.